the man and his supporters are asking, Trump literally asked Joe Biden, your son was appointed to a company board in Russia with no energy experience. What did he do to earn those millions of dollars? What did he do? Seriously? Donald Trump, the man who appointed his fucking children to high-level posts in the government and having them earn or get paid, they ain't earning anything, having them get paid millions of dollars in government positions with zero experience, zero qualifications, zero common fucking sense. And the Trump supporters are literally supporting this, and they're not even looking at the nepotism. As a matter of fact, no, they're looking at the nepotism and cheering for it. Not only are they cheering for it, but they're wanting Trump's kids to be the next presidents. Seriously? Are you fucking kidding me? We are not a fucking monarchy. We are not a monarchy. No fucking family should ever have that much influence and power in the United States of America. Which is why I didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. Which is why I didn't want George W. We are not a monarchy. We do not have any royal fucking families. It's not what we're about. We're the United States of America, formed on the idea that all men are created equal and that everyone deserves liberty and justice equally. Even at our founding, we hadn't lived up to that ideal, but that's the ideal that we were founded on. We've been steadily moving toward that. And conservatives wore red coats in the American Revolution, and now they want to claim that they're patriots. They're not patriots. They're just fucking scared of change. They don't want anything to change. They want everything to stay the same. They're cowards. Change ain't always easy, but change for the better is the way we move forward and we make progress and we make things better for everybody. Liberty and justice for all. All. You don't get liberty and justice for all by endorsing a police force that can murder people without any fucking penalty at all. That's not liberty and justice for all. That is a fascist dictator state. What most people are wanting, and most policymakers are suggesting on the liberal left side, is that police actually move funding, reallocate funds from militarization and stop viewing the citizens as their enemy and start having more training in actually keeping the peace, which is what they're supposed to be doing. They should be peacekeepers, not law enforcement. Or you separate the two. Have your peacekeepers that do the residential calls and domestic disputes, and some guy's out here threatening to hurt himself, and all of those. Make those the peacekeepers, and get your law enforcement involved for murder cases and other violent criminals. But we can't keep sending poorly trained, poorly educated, angry, pissed off, overworked, tired, sleepy police officers into situations that are volatile, where they should be de-escalating, but they're too tired, angry, and pissed off, and they wind up murdering somebody. And then get off scot-free. So it's refund the police in different areas. Give them more training. Require more training. Require licensing. Require liability insurance like nurses have. We can't keep having police officers be judge, jury, and executioner. We can't keep having and employing police officers who don't understand that if you put your knee on a man's neck, it's going to kill him. A handcuffed, ankle-cuffed prisoner should not have a knee placed on his neck for 8 minutes. It's just fucking common sense. And all of the ads I'm seeing from Republicans in Missouri are talking about, this person can't keep us safe. This person, refuses to keep us safe. Our candidate will keep us safe. Defunding the police will lead to longer 911 wait times. That's pretty impossible. They don't respond to 911 calls any fucking way. Hey, someone's breaking into my house. Yeah, good luck with that. Police officers, 911 operators need more training in actually de-escalating situations, helping people, or we need to rework the whole system. So all these Republican, conservative advertisements are all talking about how the Democrats can't keep us safe, won't keep us safe. The Republicans will keep us safe. The Republicans are law and order and enforcement and harsh penalties and fighting the criminals. Well, I gotta tell you, that is a slippery slope to fascism. You're handing over all this extra power. Police can be judge, jury, and executioner to anyone they want to kill, no matter what the situation is. And y'all are okay with it as long as it's people you don't like. You'll twist yourself into pretzels coming up with justifications for it. Y'all glorify law enforcement and cops killing anyone they want to, no matter how messed up, wrong those cops were. You defend them. and you want to give them more power to do more twisted, sick stuff to U.S. citizens, as long as they're people you don't like. Well, you start giving them that much power, and they're not going to stop there. And you're going to feel different when it's you. You're going to feel a lot different when it's you. The main point of this all of you who are willing to sacrifice liberty for the perception of safety will lose both. And you don't deserve either. And then on Trump and white supremacists. Not only did he call them very fine people, last night at the debate, Trump was given the opportunity to denounce white supremacists and say they should stop being terrorist assholes that they are. Proud Boys, Boogaloo Movement, all those. And he literally said, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. Now, there's a possibility that Trump is just a fucking moron and doesn't comprehend what he said. You can go with that. Completely and totally disqualifies him from being president of the United States of America. Or he knew exactly what he was saying. White supremacists, violent militia groups, stand by for my order telling you to kill U.S. citizens. And that's what they want to do. I've seen a lot of conservative, Republican supporters on Facebook drooling over the idea of going out and killing liberals. They want to kill protesters. They want to, they're calling for a second civil war. Some of them will come back and say, "Oh, I don't want that to happen. That's what the liberals want." No, we're over here going, "Hey, maybe cops should stop killing people. Hey, I don't think sending the United States military to attack U.S. citizens is constitutional." Trump supporters and Trump are enacting the founders' worst nightmare in having the standing U.S. military used against U.S. citizens. That is one of the things the founders thought of as the worst possible scenario. And Trump is doing it. Trump is doing it. And his Trump supporters are encouraging it. I have never seen a group of people that loathe the United States of America so much that they want the U.S. military, the standing army of the U.S. military, which the founders wrote into the Constitution should never happen, is being used or tried to be used against United States citizens. That is atrocious. When you have North Korea, the leaders of North Korea saying that the U.S. government is overstepping and abusing its citizens, you might have a real problem with a fascist dictator. Why do I call Trump a fascist dictator? He has joked about not leaving office, about extending his term, about having a third term, about being president for life. You have supporters of Trump on camera saying, see, what was that? I never thought I'd want to see a dictator in the United States of America, but if there's going to be one, I want it to be Trump. What this low-life con artist whose tax returns are now coming out and showing that he's a horrible businessman in debt up to his eyeballs, probably owned by Russian mobsters. What Trump did to completely enamor a small portion of angry, disenfranchised, hateful people, to get them to throw everything about the United States of America out the window and worship him as a dictator, I don't understand. I don't understand what could possibly be worth destroying our democratic republic to install a silver spoon fed, never worked a day in his life asshole as dictator. But that's what the GOP wants. That's what the conservatives want. No, let me take that back. That's what the Trump supporters want. They're conservatives that are going, Trump's not a conservative, which is obvious. And Trump is not a patriot, which is obvious. And are actively working against him. But there's not enough. There are far too many people in the United States of America who are all about supporting a wannabe dictator, a frickin' TV personality. And I don't understand why you can look at the Democratic Republic of the United States of America and want it to suffer that fate. I do not want to see the United States of America become a fascist dictatorship. The insanity that is prompting people to support this buffoon is completely beyond me. So, one of the other things that I hear people complaining about is the Affordable Care Act and how Obamacare is managed. And there's stuff that can be improved. But the biggest thing is I want to keep the health insurance that I choose. And this is a great example of how stupid people are, thinking that anybody, any person who is employed, 90% of people who are employed have zero choice as to who provides their health insurance, as to who provides their 401k or retirement, or if it's a 401k or an IRA or what. 90% of people who are employed have zero choice and zero options, zero viable options. Let me put that. Because part of health insurance is covered by their employer. So it's an employer provided benefit. It's possible, it's conceivable that one could choose to not take advantage of that benefit. Your employer's not going to pay you anymore because you don't take advantage of it, because you have the option to. It's a benefit, it's there for you to take advantage of. And if you don't take advantage of the health insurance plan, that raises everybody else's rates. Maybe not by much, but by a little bit. Everybody who works there and takes advantage of the health insurance plan offered by their employer, that becomes a pool, a health pool, and the more healthy people in it, the lower everybody's rates are. The more sick people that are in it, the higher everybody's rates are. And you generally have no choice as to who provides that. It's one health insurance provider chosen by the employer based on how little money they can get away with spending. So to say that we have a choice of what health insurance we have is absolutely absurd. You have zero choice. I would like choice. I would like to not have to be locked into Blue Cross Blue Shield plan that has these obscenely high deductibles. That would be awesome. Not up to me. I have no choice. I guess I could go out and get health insurance on my own, but I would be paying 3 times the cost. So a public option would be great for me, because I could go into the public option if I were allowed in, because I'm employed and make pretty good money. If I were allowed in, I could shop around. I could choose the plan I wanted. And everyone else that takes advantage of that public option, about that provider and everything else, would become part of my insurance pool, which would help lower my cost. And if 30,000 Americans joined that particular option that I decided to take advantage of, our pool would be 30,000 people instead of the 30 people who work at my office now. My rates would be absurdly low. I could get a real Cadillac package. But no, Republicans don't want me to have that choice. Republicans want me to be tied to my employer, and a health care coverage be completely denied to me. A health care option be completely denied to me. If I quit or lose my job or lose my health, they want me to lose my health coverage because I lost my job. For the President of the United States of America to not know David Duke and to not know what the Ku Klux Klan is, and to not know what the Proud Boys are, and to not know what the Boogaloo Boys or Boogaloo Movement or whatever you want to call it, to not know what those are. The right-wing terrorist organizations are completely unknown to the President of the United States. That is gross incompetence. That is gross incompetence. You need to be aware of the dangerous groups that are active in your country, right wing or left wing, whichever. To not know, that's ridiculous. I don't know which is worse. Either he actually doesn't know, or he's just lying to play to his base or something. I don't know what benefits him to getting up there and playing stupid and not knowing, or does he actually not know because he's that incompetent? I don't know which it is. I really don't. I can't tell what part of Donald Trump is just pure stupidity and what is just lying because nobody's going to call him out on it. So Trump supporters live in a glass house and are throwing stones constantly. For example, they want you to somehow believe that a privately owned company in Russia hiring Joe Biden's son while Joe Biden was vice president is somehow corrupt and unethical. No matter what qualifications Joe Biden's son actually had to get hired, and no matter that the GOP panel that investigated the whole situation couldn't find any wrongdoing at all, they want you to believe that was somehow still fishy. However, they don't want you to consider at all that Trump gave his unqualified, inexperienced children and their spouses positions of power in our government. Highly paid positions of power in our government. They don't want you to look at that. They want you to think that Joe Biden's son getting kicked out of the military is a horrible thing on Joe Biden. I don't see how that connects, but they want you to think that's a bad mark on Joe Biden, that his son got kicked out of the military for being an addict, like a lot of people do. They don't want you to look, however, they want you to completely ignore that no Trump extended family member has served in the military, even so much as tried to join, for the past 4 generations at least. None of his family, none, have even attempted to serve. They don't want you to look at that. They want you to believe somehow that a politician who increases their net income or net worth while serving as a politician is somehow extremely fishy. But they don't want you to look at why a successful businessman would desperately run for office and not release their tax returns, even though those politicians have released their tax returns and are completely and totally open with all of their income sources and smart investments that they've made and everything else. But the successful businessman who stole the presidency, somehow not paying hardly any taxes, having whole mountain of debt and failed businesses, somehow isn't suspicious at all. You know, they don't want you to even ask who he owes all that money to and what influence they might have over him, because his loans are coming due and he ain't got the money. They don't want you to look at that. They'll throw stones in all kinds of other directions to get you to avoid looking at that. Trump supporters want you to believe that they had a mandate on the election. They don't want you to look at the fact that they lost by 3 million votes. Donald Trump lost by 3 million votes. So 3 million more people wanted Hillary as president than Trump. But due to an archaic, outdated system designed to placate slavery, he got in, despite the will of the people. So what this system does, the Electoral College, one of the most egregious parts of it is that you can have 48% of the population of the state vote Democrat, 51% of the population of the state vote for the Republican candidate, and that state will give all of their Electoral College votes to the Republican, disenfranchising 48% of their population, and somehow claim, oh, we went all Republican. No, they didn't. They just screwed over 48% of their state and completely ignored them. That is what's messed up about the Electoral College. The representation that the GOP talks about is done in the Senate. Every state gets the equal number of senators. The House of Representatives is done by population. Every state gets at least one House of Representatives member. But every state gets the same number of senators, no matter what their population or what their size. So that's where the representation comes in. Handing out some archaic vote system that ignores the will of the majority of people of the United States of America to elect their president. You're just throwing away up to 48% of the population's votes. Just throwing them away. And that is wrong. Obama won by a popular vote landslide twice, but they want to call his presidency invalid. Donald Trump lost by 3 million popular votes, and they want to somehow say they have a mandate to govern, and that's utter and complete bullshit. I don't understand why the Democrats refuse to point these things out. They absolutely refuse to touch on it. They refuse to touch on the fact that Republican presidents equal recession. stock market crashes, horrible economy, every single time. Extremely inflated national debt and deficit. Every single time. Every single time a Democrat gets in office, reverses that, builds the economy up, decreases the deficit, and the whole time the Republicans are yelling, the deficit that they created. I know they're living in glass houses and throwing stones. Is golfing. Trump supporters were all up in arms about Obama golfing. Trump golfed more in 1 year than Obama did in his entire 8-year term. That might be a slight exaggeration. Trump might have golfed more in 1 year than Obama did in 4. Either way, Trump golfed a lot more than Obama did. So when Obama was occasionally golfing, the Trump supporters were all like, oh, he should be in the White House doing his job, complaining, the golfer in chief, all kinds of obscene remarks about Obama going to golf. Now, Trump, who golfs a lot more than Obama does, and they're like, oh man, he's under a great deal of stress, he deserves to golf occasionally. Seriously? At some point, I would imagine that even they have to choke on their own hypocrisy. But they don't. They just move forward like it's not even a thing. I can't imagine having a brain that lacks the capability to recognize your own hypocrisy in calling Obama the golfer in chief, but someone who golfs a hell of a lot more as deserving the occasional golfing outing because he's under so much stress. Come on, people. It's like the whole thing. I can't stand to hear a Trump supporter call any other politician corrupt. Trump is absolutely 100% more than Nixon corrupt. And they're just fine with it. Completely, totally fine with it. But they'll call another politician corrupt. What the fuck? Are you serious? I don't know. It's ridiculous. Support anyone who can still support Trump is absolutely unhinged, ridiculous. That's all I got to say about that.